Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And just yesterday, I did a video about a case that involved DNA analysis of a mother of 5 who was murdered on a trail in Maryland, and subsequently through DNA analysis and testing, they ended up finding a 23-year-old man from El Salvador who allegedly committed that heinous crime, and he has been arrested and charged with murder. So that's one. Here's a scenario where DNA analysis has worked. And now I got another story for you straight out of Maryland that took place back in 2001. It became a cold case, and through DNA analysis, they end up finding the alleged suspect. And the curious caveat about this particular story is that the suspect is the ex-boyfriend of the daughter of the mother that was murdered, named Leslie Prier. And so let's go. Let's talk about how DNA analysis has worked. And there's been many times where DNA analysis and its testing has also worked for individuals that have been incarcerated and convicted of crimes that they did not commit. So DNA analysis can be an effective tool. So, man arrested in 2001 murder of Maryland woman. Daughter says he's her ex-boyfriend. Leslie Prier's daughter told local outlet Fox 5 that the man arrested was her ex-boyfriend. She says it's been a hell of a day. The apparent ex-boyfriend of a Virginia woman is in custody for the 2001 murder of her mother in a homicide case that stumped Maryland authorities for 23 years. Eugene Theodore Gligor, 44, has been arrested for allegedly killing 50-year-old Leslie Jennings Prier, who was found murdered inside her Chevy Chase, Maryland home after she did not show up for work on May 2nd, 2001. The Montgomery County Department of Police said Tuesday in a news release. Investigators recovered DNA evidence from the crime scene in 2001, according to the department. In September 2022, 21 years later, blood evidence from the scene was submitted to a lab for forensic genetic genealogical DNA analysis, resulting in Gligor being identified as a potential suspect, police added. When detectives collected DNA evidence from Gligor and compared it to DNA from the crime scene, they discovered on June 9th that the analysis generated a positive match. Once police obtained a warrant on June 15th, the U.S. Marshals Task Force in D.C. arrested Gligor on June 18th and charged him with first-degree murder, according to the release. And this is where Miss Prier's daughter said it's been a hell of a day. Gligor seemed to have ties to the Prier family, as Leslie Prier's daughter, Lauren Prier, told Fox News that the two dated when they were 15. She said it's been a hell of a day, Lauren Prier said per Fox News 5. He was my ex-boyfriend. Gligor grew up in the same neighborhood as the Priers, and their families were acquainted, according to Lauren Prier per the TV station. USA Today reached out to Lauren Prier. According to her social media profiles, resides in Fairfax, Virginia, but has not received a response. Lauren Prier and Eugene Gligor encountered each other last year. Lauren Prier and Gligor, now Lauren Prier, remember, is the daughter of Leslie, the mother, who was murdered. Lauren Prier and Gligor even ran into one another at a restaurant in D.C. last year, she told Fox News. Crazy. She said, I've spoken to him. He didn't seem weird. And how could you look someone in the eye and know that you committed this crime and act like nothing happened? It's pretty unreal, she said. Gligor is in the process of being extradited to Maryland from D.C. Now, Leslie's pure death not ruled a homicide until 2 days after her body was found. Police found the body of Leslie Prior in an upstairs bedroom, the Washington Post reported in 2001. Prior was found with apparent trauma to her body. Sandy Prior, Leslie Prior's husband, last saw his wife around 7:45 a.m. that morning, the Post reported, citing a 911 call from May 2, 2001. He and Prior's employer discovered the suspicious scene at the home, according to the 2022 release. Investigators weren't fully sure what happened in the Prior home due to there being no clear signs of forced entry, according to the Post. Also, the neighborhood had a low crime rate and law enforcement had not been called to the Prior home in the past, ever, the outlet reported. So they don't know what is the reasoning behind Gligor allegedly killing Miss Leslie Prior, who was the mother of his ex-girlfriend, Lauren, when he was 15 years old, and the families had known each other. This is a clear example when we talk about stranger danger, not utilizing our five senses that God has given us. You could be around somebody for 20 years and never know them, be it married to them, family member, when things take place and you thought you knew the person to be one way and they ended up being something else. This is a clear indication where, so knowing someone is not based on time. Utilizing your five senses, your gut instinct, your chakras to see if this person is valid and is a good person. We have to go on our instincts. And here's a clear example of a real stranger danger that was right down the street and in their neighborhood. And he had even been in their home because he dated Lauren when he was 15 years old and the families knew each other. But he turned out, allegedly, to be a heinous criminal and is alleged to have killed Lauren's mother, Leslie Prior. And we don't know why. What is the reasoning behind it? We don't have an answer for it, but you're seeing a lot of stories, and I've done quite a few videos where either family members, ex-husbands, ex-wives are committing heinous crimes against their partners and family members, and we are reaching a point where there is such a minuscule line between life and death and respect and humanity. And if this case and this story is true, this young man has been walking around for 23 years with this hanging and looming over his head. And if it is true that he allegedly murdered his ex-girlfriend, high school girlfriend's mother, Leslie Prior, in her home, seems awfully diabolical. We have to keep our eyes and ears open all the time. Our head should be on a swivel. There are definitely dangerous people out here, whether it's through mental illness or just hateful individuals. Why this young man would go and kill his ex-girlfriend's mother is beyond me. And then he's even ran into Lauren, the daughter, on a few occasions and even spoke to her like nothing has ever happened. So many times in this learning tool, the things that you see on the outside or the appearance that you see, the real measuring stick is to judge their character and the content and the quality of who they are on the inside. But this is also a scenario where DNA analysis and testing uncovered a cold case, and hopefully they can put this case to rest if he is the alleged perpetrator of this heinous crime. And this is where scientific DNA can be extremely helpful. Also, you will find that DNA analysis has also gotten many individuals off of death row, off of life in prison for crimes they did not commit. Before DNA analysis, it was always witness testimony and a storyline for police officers to build a case. And DNA analysis has made it a little bit easier for law enforcement, and it's a helpful rendering to find suspects that have committed crimes and they thought they have gotten away with it. But there's also been scenarios where DNA analysis has been messed with and played with. I did a story on a young lady who was the lead DNA scientist in Colorado, and she was fudging the numbers and making up test results that may have gotten hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals incarcerated based on her DNA analysis, and now she's under investigation for falsifying DNA test results. So there's a yin and a yang, there's a good and a bad, there's always human error, there's always human corruption that's involved in many elements of law enforcement. If DNA analysis is not being manipulated in one way or another, it can be a useful tool. And this is a complete scenario based on the story I did yesterday about the mother of 5 who was found murdered on a Maryland trail, and they did DNA analysis, and now they have a suspect in custody from El Salvador who also had perpetrated a crime in California, an assault against a 12-year-old girl. He needed to be off the street, and DNA analysis has been helpful in that way. Also, DNA analysis has been helpful in this particular scenario for a cold case that went cold for 23 years. And if this is corroborated in the right direction and is true, then it is heartfelt that Mr. Gligor is off the streets and is not walking around a free man based on this very, very dark past that he had, where he allegedly murdered his ex-girlfriend that he dated as a teenager, murdered her mother. What a sad story. And he needs to be off the streets and is being charged with first-degree murder. Tell me what you think about DNA analysis, about this cold case that sounds like it's being solved by a DNA analysis and DNA testing. And this is one case that the Maryland law enforcement folks can finally close the books on, and hopefully the Prier family can have some relief in knowing who the suspect was that killed Lauren's mother, Miss Leslie Prier, all over 24 years ago. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.